Okay, long Baal Shem Tov story. I'll try to make it a little shorter. Once a man came to the Baal Shem Tov. The man was rich, intelligent, versed in all the books of the Talmud, maybe even a little bit of Kabbalah. And he came to the Baal Shem Tov. And the Baal Shem Tov was admitted. He got he made an appointment, whatever. He got in. And the Baal Shem Tov said, yes, can I help you? People usually came to the Baal Shem Tov because they had problems. Or they had questions in the Torah. They wanted the problems in serving God, or they had health problems, like with Lubavitcher Rebbe. Same. So he said, I don't have any problems. I'm rich. I have a lot of children. I have, I'm versed in all the books of the Talmud. I'm a religious Jew. But I heard that you were a great person. There's other stories that start this way also, but this one I didn't tell you yet. I heard that you're a great person, and I want to say something great. He said, the Baal Shem Tov said, well, I can tell you a story. It's a story. What type of a story? I want to hear some words of Torah. For instance, I'm learning in the Talmud. I'm learning in Baba Metzia, 3rd chapter of Baba Metzia. Can you tell me something about this? The Baal Shem Tov said, listen, I can tell you a story if you want to. I can tell you a good story. He said, well, what about the Kabbalah? Here, I read this. I have a question in the Zohar. I read this chapter. Can you tell me the answer to this? Baal Shem Tov, listen, all I can do is tell you a story. So the man said, listen, I see I came here for absolutely nothing. And all these stories they tell about you, I see it's Baal Shem Tov said, listen, you came so far, at least listen to the story. It'll take, a few minutes. So, okay, story time, bedtime, I'm a little child. Okay, tell me your story. So the Baal Shem Tov said, well, once there were 2 partners, 2 Jews. They were partners in business and they succeeded amazingly. And they decided they were going to open up a new branch. Where they were in Prague. And they decided they were going to open up a new branch of their product, whatever it was, in Paris. So they went together to Paris and they opened up this new, did all the necessary preparations. They bought a big factory and a big, whatever it is, a big office building. And they brought the machinery and they brought everything and they opened up the second business. and they started off. And so one of them was in Paris and the other one remained in Prague. They were best friends. They used to write each other every day. But then after a year or so, it was hard to write every day. So they would write, whenever they could, once a week or twice a week. And as time went by, they were writing once a month. And then they would write just before the holidays, one to each other, they would write. And then they would, sometimes they would miss a year, miss a holiday. Anyway, it happened that the one in France, the business in France, somehow or other, it failed. And it left the one in France owing a lot of money. So he went back to his friend in Prague. And he said, listen, I had some bad news. I lost money. I would like to borrow, if I could, $1 million. And his friend in Prague said, borrow? What are you crazy? Borrow? I'll give you the money. We're brothers. We're friends. We're more than friends. Okay, thank you very much. They hugged, they kissed, they gave him the money. He got his business going on in France. And it succeeded. And then the one in Prague, all of a sudden, the wheel of fortune changed for him. Now, this is the story the Baal Shem Tov is telling to this person, right? So the Baal Shem Tov, are you listening to the story? He says, yeah, I'm listening to the story, but I don't, could you make it quick? Because, it's a pretty boring story, in fact. He says, well, listen to the story. He says, then the partner in Prague, he lost he got into bad times, and he got into a big debt. So he said, I'll go to my friend in France, and I'll ask him if he can loan me some money. By this time, a lot of time had passed, by when they made the original division, it was like, 20 years ago. So now they're both fairly old, they're in their 60s at least. Anyway, so the one from Prague, he goes to France and asks him for money. The one in France, he heard that his friend had lost his money. He heard it, but he was very, very busy. He was really making a lot of money. And suddenly he sees, he's up in his like the fourth story of his mansion, and there he sees his friend coming, and he says, "Oh, yo. He's probably coming to ask me for money, and I have all my money is tied up in this really big business deal that I have right now." Listen, he goes to the servant. He takes calls the servant and says, "Listen, this fellow knocking on the door. Tell him I'm not home. Tell him I'm not home. Bring him some food or something like that. You can bring him a blanket or something, but tell him I'm not home and I have orders not to let anybody in." So the servant goes to the door. It's a cold day. It's in the winter or coming close to winter. Anyway, goes to the door. He says, "Hello, can I come in?" He says, "No, I'm sorry, the master is not here." And he left strict orders that no one should come in. He said, "But we're best friends." I'm sorry, you didn't make any exceptions. I don't know what to tell you, but I have my orders. Please excuse me, I just can't let you in. I can't let you in. But he said that anyone that does come to the door, I should provide them with food. And here I have some money for you. Here's, $100. And here's a food and here's a blanket. He said, in the winter, I should give people a blanket. So he said, "Thank you very much." And he sat down and he ate the meal and he's thinking, what am I going to do? So he says to the servant, "Have you got any idea when he's coming back?" He said, "Well, I don't know. He could come back he didn't really say, maybe another week or something. He's already been gone, for more than a week." So he sits down and he thinks, what am I going to do? And he's really, really tired and it's cold. He covers himself with a blanket and he eats the meal and he goes to sleep outside. In the morning, they come outside and they find that this friend had died. He died. He was tired from the road. He was brokenhearted because he lost all of his money. and it was cold outside. And it seems he must have frozen to death, whatever it was altogether. So this fellow from the one in France, he sees what he has done. So, he took his friend in and he buried him in his front yard, told the servant to take him and bury him. And he buried him in the front yard. And that's it. No, the friend went up to heaven. And the one that was dead, he went up to heaven. And they said, "You go into heaven. You go into heaven." And he said, "Well, what about my friend from France?" He said, "Hell. He killed you. Stingy." He said, "No. I don't want that. I don't want that anybody should get punished because of me." And not only that, yeah, it was probably having a bad day, who knows what. Just for a little thing like that, I was already old, I wasn't healthy. I don't want him to die because of me. I don't want him to go to hell because of me. So they say, okay, in heaven they decided like this: listen, if you want to, we'll send you back to this world as a poor person, and you'll go. And when he dies, that's when he dies, he'll come up to heaven. We'll send him back to the world, and he'll be rich. He'll be born into a rich family, and you'll be born into a poor family. And you every day will go and ask him for charity. And when he gives you back all of the money that he should have given, that you gave to him, then his generosity will send him to heaven. He'll go into heaven with you. That'll fix up the bad thing that he did, that he killed you. Is that okay? Yeah, it means you're going to have to suffer. You'll be if it'll help my friend, I'll do it. And that's what it was. Sure enough, the friend that died from freezing, he waited. The rich one in France, eventually 10 years later, he died. And they were sent back into the world. The stingy rich one, he was born into a rich family. He became very rich. And the one that died, the poor one that died, he was born into a poor family. And every day he would knock on the rich person's door and he would request charity, and the rich person would give it to him. But one day, he knocked on the door of this rich person to request money, and the rich person was in a bad mood. And he started yelling at this person, "Get away from me. Every day you come here You're driving me crazy. And he said, no, 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 please, just give me a little charity, just anything. And the rich person said, get away. And he hit him on the head with his cane and he killed him. It ends up he killed him the second time. And he buried him in the front yard. And with this, he lost his chance to be saved from hell. And now he has double jeopardy. He killed the same man twice. That's the end of my story. Okay, you can go. This rich man is standing there and he's just sort of looking down. He said, the Baal Shem Tov, I said, you can go. You can go now. That's the end of the story. He's just sitting there starting to tremble. The Baal Shem Tov, are you all right? Are you okay? I mean, would you like a cup of water? He calls one of his, could you bring a cup? He just starts, the man is just sitting there and he's shaking. He says, oh, maybe I should call a doctor. And he suddenly screamed out, that's me. That's me. I was the one. I killed him. A week ago, someone came to my house. This poor person's been coming every day. And I got aggravated. I hit him and I killed him. I killed the same person twice. Baal Shem Tov, that's right. That's why you came to me. And that's why I'm telling you this story. And the only way that you can rectify this is you have to give all of the money you have to charity. And you have to wander around and be a poor person yourself and ask others for charity. And maybe the charity that you give and the suffering that you have, maybe that will clean the double murder that you did. And that's the Baal Shem Tov story for today. Okay, see you all tomorrow, God willing, Friday, 8:15 in the morning. God bless you all. Have a good day with Mashiach now.